to go get it.
Hello, friends. This is my second live this week. Welcome. I'm so excited to be back doing lives. This is Daniela. If you don't know, she was my very first ever live. It's very fitting to have her back on this one. We are cheersing. Cheers. Breezy's supposed to join too, but we are drinking. It is 5:00 somewhere. It's 2:00 here, so that counts.
It's 4:00 here, and I just clocked out. So
there you go. It is Friday. It is drinking time. There is Breezy. We are cheersing to my 10K. I don't know why I'm yelling. We're cheersing to my 10K on YouTube. We're also going to get into, there was a lot of reseller happenings this week. It was eBay Open. Poshfest is coming up next week. They both had some really big announcements this week, which I'm wondering, like, Posh made the announcement when Poshfest is coming next week. Were you doing it to like take over Thunder, or like, I don't know, it just seemed kind of coincidental there for me. But we are going to get into some of the big releases there, and then there was something. Was that it? Yes. Just so we're going to be
just going to chat, Sarah.
Yes, we're also just going to chat. And if you don't know either of these lovely ladies, their links are down below. They are going to share their opinions for sure, which is why I love having everyone on my channel, but we're going to get into it. So let me open my beer. I'm going to pour it in a cup because I don't know the policies.
Very fancy of you. I mean, this is wine. I was going to bring the bottle, and I was like, that's probably not appropriate, and I should put it in a glass.
Well, I don't know.
California, it was just an edible.
How very California of you.
Very California of you.
I can't. So, I mean, I'm in Colorado. So, I mean, even before it was legal, it was like, right. And it just makes me want to go to sleep. And I'm like, well, this is not helpful. I have things to do. Like, maybe I need to build my tolerance, Breezy.
You do. The California answer is yes.
That's what my cousin says that too. She's all about it. She's like, I take it after the kids go to bed and we just listen to a podcast. And I'm like, yeah. And I fall asleep. Like, that's not what I'm about. I have my eBay cup. I poured it in because I don't
know. First of all, Sarah, congratulations to 10K. So exciting.
Bro. That's amazing. I didn't even realize it snuck up. It snuck up. Oh my God.
Oh, I mean, to you, I have said probably at least once a month for 4 years, I'm going to quit YouTube. So if you're out there watching and you are doing social media or anything, like, don't give up.
If on you just 4-year journey, you just urged me just now.
It's hard, Breezy. I know we've talked about it, and I know you've like got into YouTube as well, and you go, it's a lot of work, and it is.
And I feel like if you're not inspired, it's just not gonna happen. And I'm of the mindset, like, this is fun for me. Like, this is not like, yeah, cool, I can get paid doing it, but like, if I don't make content, I'm okay with it. Like, totally fine. I want to do it when I feel inspired to do it, and I'm gonna produce something that people are going to enjoy. I love interacting with people. I love talking. I love doing all of that, but it's that like quote of like hitting the 1,000 subscribers and the 10,000 watch hours. And it's like, it's very dreadful. And then once you get there, it takes so long to like get to those next steps. And the reseller community, while everyone is amazing, there's a lot of us that are in the YouTube space too. And it's just very hard to like differentiate yourself and all of that. But I give credit to everyone who's made it past the 10K. Like, you guys are awesome.
I give credit to everyone who has like put one video out there.
Very true.
I mean, it's hard, right? I've been talking to my husband, and he has been saying he wants to do a YouTube channel since I've met him. He's probably watching this, so I should be nice. But I'm like, just do it. And he's like, well, I have to get the right equipment. I'm like, no, you just have to put a video out there. That's it. And then your next video gets better. And then you're like, I went back and looked at my first video, and I was like, oh my God, this is horrendous. Like, and I'm not anywhere compared to, you know, these hairy tornadoes who are making like, you know, they have film crews, right? Like, you just do it. And each time, and I think this is with anything that you do, you just keep doing it. And even if you don't want to, you get better.
Yeah.
Well, because we have YouTube, we have Instagram, we have TikTok, and Instagram's like, let me throw everything in the kitchen pot at you. You know what I mean? Like, it's just a lot. And you got maybe you have a Patreon, maybe, you know,
it's so much. And then there's always something new too, right? And I'm getting to that age.
Let's talk about the new stuff, okay? Since you just brought it up.
Yeah.
There are so many new things. I'm all set, guys. I'm just gonna throw it out there. I'm all set. Like I am just of the mindset, and someone posted this on Instagram, maybe it was yesterday or the day before, and I totally agree with it. Like, just because all these things are coming up does not mean that you need to do them. Just because one person has a Discord doesn't mean you need to do a Discord. Just because a million people are on Whatnot does not mean you need to be on Whatnot. Like, you need to figure out where you want to reserve your time and your space.
Yes.
And you go from there. Like, I made time and space for this because I want to do this and this makes me happy. Like, no, it's true, Sarah. Like, I want to sit down, I want to engage, I want to talk about this, I want to talk with the people that are watching. I will make time for that. But for me to even watch something like a live auction, I just don't see the value in it for myself right now.
So as you're saying this, because I feel like I've been all over the place. I took the summer off. And it was amazing. I had content come out and I had listings ready. So it wasn't like completely off, but I was off. I was not working. Getting back. And I feel like everything's changed in 3 months, right? Like, yes, Discord is like where it's at now. YouTube memberships are getting better. You have Whatnot. And now we're going to talk more in depth, but you have the Poshmark and eBay lives. And I feel like I'm all over the place. And so I literally this week have been writing down all my tasks and making a column of the things I hate doing and the things I like doing. And I'm going to figure out how to make a business off of this column.
Hold on. I want Breezy to tell us all the things that she dislikes doing. She's very vocal about this.
We'd be here all day. I mean, like, come on. I like making the money. And I like
part of that is too. One of the things is going on vacations. And I'm like, well, some of these things afford us to be able to do that, right? If you guys do not follow Breezy Brown Breezy, are you still doing a Patreon for tea?
I do. I have a Patreon for tea and I have a Patreon for vintage. So like if you want to be a good kid and learn how to sell vintage, you can do that. And if you want to be a bad little boy or girl, you can sign up for the tea. But it's all anonymous. Like nobody has to know who you are. Just like I'm George Poshington on Whatnot. You can be whoever you want on my tea.
I had no idea that's who you are on Whatnot.
What? But it's your face, right? Like you show you, or you're not even showing who you are.
On Whatnot. It's not my face. And like somebody, I think it was my husband came up with that joke, and I was like, I'm gonna be George Washington because I wanted to go incognito. Now everyone knows because I just told all your 10,000 subs.
You're gonna start getting blocked, Breezy.
I know. So you are on Whatnot.
Whatnot. I can go anywhere. Unlike the guys.
Yes. Yeah. So we're gonna get into it. If you guys are not following Breezy and Daniela, both amazing content, both different realms of reselling, but both amazing content. Breezy is a vintage seller. Both of their handles are down below, but Breezy is a vintage seller. She also does these amazing reseller teas on her Patreon. And if you want to know what's the hap in the reselling world, Breezy is your girl, which is one of the reasons I had her on here, because I knew she would like get down and dirty with me on everything that happened this week.
This week was what I feel like the last month has just been crazy in the reseller space. So I'm with you, Sarah. Like I took a lot of the summer off. I didn't make any content for YouTube. The podcast, we had things scheduled out in advance and we've recorded a ton of stuff in advance so we could have a summer off. I mean, I kind of sourced, I kind of did reseller stuff, but I really just focused on like me and just doing things for me and having fun with my family and enjoying my first full year in the house and enjoying the first summer in this home because we moved in the fall last year. So I didn't get to enjoy the summer. And it was wonderful. And now that I'm like getting back into the swing of things, I'm like, oh God, like it was so much better when I was just not engaged with anyone at all. Isn't that awful? I hate to say that, but it's true. Like it's overwhelming.
I feel that way, but then I get off of these lives or like
I'm motivated. Yes. Yeah.
And I went to eBay headquarters and I met these amazing resellers, which like they inspired me, and they're like growth mode. And one of them is like, I'm going to take over the world essentially. And I was like, I think I'm good.
I don't need to take the world over yet.
I don't like everyone wants to grow. And it's amazing. But I'm like coming to terms with like, there's this hustle mentality that we have as Americans that you have to have like 17 jobs and to pay your bill. Like no judgment if you do and you're all about it or you have to pay your bills. But I'm kind of good with what I had this summer and like having, you know, I don't need to grow. I don't need a warehouse. I don't want 150 employees. I'm amazed at the people who do. I'm good.
I think that's like the beauty of it, right? And like knowing where you are in your world and in your space and not feeling like you have to do what everyone else is doing. Because yes, it's super motivating to hear what everyone does and like be inspired by it, but then also like taking that step back and saying, but do I really need to do the same thing that they're doing? Because I don't know if I really need that in my life. It may sound really cool, maybe I'll try it, but I don't really know if that's where I need to be. It's a hard conversation to have with yourself.
That's the problem with this community, though. Like, everybody has such bad FOMO. They really do. Yeah. They really do. And everyone wants to jump on something just because they hear. You see one post where someone's like, I sold 32 things. It's like 32 things. It's like, I didn't even know 32 things was that much. You know what I mean? Like, we're all, and listen, I include myself. Like, sometimes I even get the FOMO. I'm like, am I missing out? Should I be doing this? Sometimes I do jump on the train and I get all into it. And I think you're right. Like we all have to like find, hey, I'm trying to do a live. That's my puppy. We're trying to like, you really need to figure out who you are as a business.
Yeah.
And who you are in social media. And like you were saying, Sarah, like find what is working like for your value of your time, you know? And the truth of the matter is we're not all live sellers. We're not all whatnot sellers. We're not all social media people. You know what I mean? Like we have to find our strengths and our weaknesses. Some people are doing great in these live sales. They really are. I'm not knocking it. And it obviously came over from Japan and China. Truthfully, they're doing everything first. They're the trendsetters for America. So if they've done it and it's successful there, it's coming. Like we can't be a naysayer. Like it's not coming. It's coming. Like
I know
for resale.
But and this is why I feel so. For people who don't know what's happening, we're kind of very like tiptoeing around it. We are talking about eBay and so there's Whatnot. I had a video live last week or the week before about Whatnot. We got down and dirty with it. Poshmark and eBay. So eBay Open 2022 was this week. Poshfest is next week, but Posh announced, was it Wednesday night right before or the day of eBay Open? It was right around.
Yeah, around the same time. But I think they sent an email out to those individuals like maybe a week before. So it was kind of like supposed to be hush hush, but nothing in this community is hush hush no matter what. And it was out there immediately because people don't read. So
yeah.
So we're tiptoeing around live selling, right? So Whatnot, I think, has definitely over the course of this year, I feel like even more so for this summer, a lot of people, it started with cards and collectibles, and then I think it really got into sneakers, and now I think it's kind of opened up to like, which is where we're at, the fashion clothing reselling world. And that's getting big. And I'm kind of in this FOMO, like, but it's not so much that I don't like, obviously I'm on social media. I'm fine talking. I don't care.
Yeah.
I'm more about the back end. If you guys watch my channel, you know this, and the reporting and the prepping and that, like, I have processes in place and my listers do it. They can't do a YouTube live, which is where for me, the allure of Poshmark comes in because it's already there. Right. I don't have to learn a new platform. I can pull the reports on what sells. I already have processes. So I signed up. I don't want to say no before, like, I want to try it. I feel like it's the new thread up in the new Clubhouse to me is kind of where we're at, right? There's a huge hype, and I got in and I did thread up and I was like, well, this is awful. I'm glad for people who do it. It was not for me. And I got in on Clubhouse and I was like, this is also equally awful. I'm happy for people who do it. It was not for me. So I feel like I need to try it before I can say that. But I'm interested to hear other people's perspectives on what is happening, what they think is
the feedback that I have seen on social so far. I only went to Deneen's show, who's Fashionista 21 on Poshmark. I went to her show for a little while because I love Deneen. I'm always going to support Deneen. I did see her selling things. I did see her selling things at a price point that I thought she was making money at, you know, which is not what I have seen mostly on Whatnot.
It goes for lower, right? It goes for lower on Whatnot.
Yeah, it does. No, typically. I mean, of course, there's exceptions. So in her room, I saw anywhere from like 35 to 50 people at a time. But the feedback from social media today is that people were selling a lot and they were selling at high. Oh, Cito, please. I'm sorry.
You can hold little Cito in the video.
You might bring him over in a minute. I don't know what he's doing. So yeah, I've seen a lot of people posting that people were really buying and they were buying at high price points. So that's good. Y'all discuss. I'm gonna get this dog.
Okay.
Breezy
just got a puppy, so.
I'm also wondering though, like it was the first day, so there was like all this hype,
right?
Like I didn't buy anything, but I went to Creep, right? Because we all wanted to see what was going on. So when you see these, I have to go get my kids, but they're off today. On that note, real quick, on my, I don't know if you guys watched my presentation on eBay Open, but at the very beginning, I don't know if you noticed.
I saw you check your watch and I was like, something to do with her children.
Oh my God, 100%. I have an alarm. I filmed at the same time this today, and I have alarm to not forget my children because that's my life. I have yet to forget them, which is good. They're at grandma's right now, but it went off, and I was pretty impressed that it didn't I just kept going, and I forgot. And the producer was like, because they told us it was filmed, in case you guys didn't know. But the producer was like, we don't want to edit it. Do not mess up. And I was like,
no pressure, eBay. Sure.
Oh my God.
And they would edit it, but it was like they filmed so much that they were like trying not. And so I was like, oh my God, try not to worry about Anyway, I'm glad you noticed it, Danielle.
I did. That was like one of the first things I noticed, and I was like, one of Sarah's alarms went off, and it's pathetic that I noticed that, but that's just kind of person that I am. Where I was like,
yes,
that would be me.
You know me well, and you know me well enough to know. And I actually even turned my phone on Do Not Disturb. But your alarms, in case you guys ever need to know this, your alarms do not disturb. You have to turn them off. they still go. Yes. Because I was like,
can I just give my brief synopsis on all of this? I think, not talking about Whatnot, we're going to talk about Poshmark. I had very low expectations for Poshmark. I mean, we're talking they were
in
low.
general or for lives?
For the live. For the in general too, but the live. The live. The expectation was low because over the last 6 months, it's been a little bit of turmoil going on with the community and them not really listening. And I was impressed with what they came out with in beta. I think one thing that I've kind of heard across the board from people is that there's a lot of things that they wish that this live show had, but it's like, okay, but they actually put something in beta when we've been asking them to put something in beta. So I'm actually proud of them for doing that. And
explode, right? I was fully anticipating
I thought the app was going to crash.
I didn't see any glitches. It ran smooth.
There were no lag time, 0 lags. The quality was good, way better than Whatnot's quality. I think they focused a lot of time and energy on that because I don't think they really knew what to expect from it. And because of all the hype with Whatnot, they probably were like, all right, let's change the bandwidth here. We gotta improve everything. I thought the aesthetic was perfect for Poshmark. So much better than what we're seeing right now for lives. The aesthetic was great. I love the little counter they had at the top right-hand corner of the people. I thought that was a really nice way that they had the numbers going through. The chat was beyond too fast. Yes. It was flying. So they need to figure out a way to control the chat feature, or maybe the host can control the chat feature and have it on when you do streams on YouTube.
You could see that the host couldn't read it either, really. You could see they were holy.
Yeah, they were frantic.
They were getting what we were getting, which was
right. Which is my struggle too with doing it is I've done one YouTube live. And granted, it's not set up for it, obviously, but I've done one YouTube live sale, and it was a hot mess. It is so hard to manage it and to sell. And so a lot of the people that I've talked to have 2 people doing the shows, whether they're both on camera, but they have people in the background helping with the chat and doing, and that's where I struggle that I'm like, I'm not. I'm
going to ask my husband, hey, can you sit here and do this that you really have no desire to do? I mean, he'll do it, but I don't want to put that on him.
I did it with my husband one time, and
yeah, I was going to say disaster because that's what I envision.
And of course I didn't practice. We barely went over rules. He was like, I was like, okay, and hand me the next item. And he's like,
well, and as a long-term business plan too, right? I am thoroughly enjoying talking to you guys, and I'm forgetting that we're on a live. Let me check in with the chat.
Sorry, guys.
Everyone. No, it's good. But I was like, oh, we're on a live. Let me see who's here and say hello. Thank you, everybody, for joining. Good afternoon from Ohio. Bobby loves the thrift. Jeff is here. Jeff has a YouTube channel. I've done a chat with him, so check him out. Elisa is here. Who's drinking with us? No one has said anything. If you are drinking, it's 5:00 somewhere. Let us know what your happy hour on Fridays. This is how we do happy hours as resellers, because we are at home. Then we don't feel like we're sitting at home drinking alone, right?
Yeah, we're drinking with friends.
Counts. Hello everyone, Denver, Colorado. That's where I'm from too. So if you guys don't know, this is Yanka. He was on eBay everywhere. He's like the poster boy for YouTube or for eBay and sell sneakers. I don't know if you guys were watching the eBay Open. There was so much sneaker hate. I mean, I guess eBay's eBay is really pushing sneakers hard.
They are.
But the chats were kind of funny. Like there was so much sneaker hate. So no sneaker hate here. I'm actually putting together a sneaker panel because it's fire right now.
Ooh, nice.
I don't know that I'm going to get into it, but I know a lot of really good sneakerheads that are going to come on and kind of teach us what to do. So
I know I look at sneakers like I'm like, I could never. It's so much information. I don't know. But then I'm like, wait a minute.
You do vintage.
I know, like I actually know this about other stupid things, like like trousers.
Right. It's what you want to put your money into. So I just bought a whole Poshmark closet and half of it is vintage. And I'm trying to figure out how to get you to do my listings for me.
DM me.
I will. Because I have listers, but I don't do a lot of vintage. And so they're just not going to be able to get, and you have to have the right. Anyway, that was a complete side subject, but I was thinking about that earlier. So keep an eye out for me. And Breezy does do, just to plug her real quick, she does do you still do your vintage where like if you have a question and you need some advice, you can send you pictures and
I don't like do that for money anymore because I have the course and I have the Patreon. So I feel like you can take those. But I'm also like, if you join my Patreon or buy my course, I'll always answer those questions for you. But also I'm not an wait, can we curse on YouTube? I won't. I'm not a jerk. So I'm not, if you send me a picture, I'm going to help you out. Like, please don't send me one every 10 minutes, but no one ever has. You know what I mean? People are
so not like my whole entire $1,000 item.
There are exceptions to the rule, okay?
Well,
But people are usually very respectful with, they're just, people are nice. Inherently, people are good, I think. And like, people are usually respectful and they're very polite with me. They'll offer to send me money. I'm always like, no, I mean, I can take, 2 minutes out. Normally it's so fast for me that I don't mind doing it for someone. And I kind of like to educate them. I'm like, what do you, I'm like a little nerd. Like, what do you think? Like a teacher dropping.
Little teacher.
You can tell you have little kids too, right? Like that's
Right.
when my kids ask me a question that I'm not listening to. I'm like, well, what do you think? Mom. Okay, so back to the sale.
The lives, the Posh lives. I think one thing that made me really excited was the way that you can put your listing not for sale. This is like straight accounting, right? Put your listing not for sale. All of your everything is in there. You can pull that report, use it however you want. It's not, from what I hear, Whatnot's CSV is not very comprehensive. It doesn't really have a lot of the things that you need in it. And people are struggling with figuring out that accounting. So I think that's one of the biggest advantages when it comes to Poshmark doing the lives. I also think there were a lot of buyers going into the lives. Now, a lot of it is hype, right? And they want to see what it's all about. It wasn't just resellers. And I feel like the majority of what we're seeing in the clothing realm of Whatnot, a lot of it is resellers. We recognize a lot of people that are in there. Not saying that everyone is, because obviously that wouldn't be true, but it was encouraging to see the amount of buyers going into shows. And this is what gets me excited about eBay, because if eBay does
the communications were awful too. So like if they actually communicated a little bit better, they might get more people.
Yeah, agreed.
I do have like a little about this because I know every platform, when they do live sales, their employees, I really don't know. I mean, I can't say every platform, but every platform I know has done this with their employees. They give them a spending amount every month, right? I mean, it just makes sense. So you can tell when you do a new platform's live, you can tell there's employees coming in purchasing from you.
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely. So on the show.
My wonder is how much of these purchases were buyers, how much were employees? Because if I was Poshmark, and I would not knock them. In fact, I would knock them if they didn't do this. I would have given a good bonus to my employees to go push these first lives so they look good. Obviously, that's marketing. And on top of it, like we saw a lot of numbers in those lives. But like I was tuning in and I'm never going to tune in again. Like it's the truth. I don't have time for lives. I'm ADHD. I got 2 small kids and now a puppy. Like you gotta be kidding me. I'm not going to do it. Maybe Sarah, I'll tune in for a second, Sarah. I really will. Sarah.
And Tori just popped on and said that she's doing 3 shows next month. So
I love Tori and I'll pop in for Tori too, but you have to give me a sewing tip, Tori. That's the rule.
Oh my God, her TikTok is like blown up. It is.
I learned so much. I learned so much from Tori.
Yeah, and Tori's a great teacher.
Like just love her.
That's my thing too. Is I wonder, because I was asking my husband, like, would you spend an hour on a platform hoping to get something? And he was like, hell no. Like I would just go search for it and buy it. And I was like, yeah, me too. But we're not like I fully understand that I'm like the old person now. Like I'm the grandma, and the Gen Zs is what's leading this. And I mean, they will, right? They spend so much time on socials.
And YouTube, they do a lot of YouTubing and like, you know, just scrolling like they do. So I do think that they're more into this style. I mean, for me, I feel like I'm watching. Sorry, my puppy almost fell, y'all. I caught him.
I didn't realize he was there, and I was like, "What?"
He's so tiny. That's why.
You know, I don't have time for lives, y'all.
Right. I'm with you, and especially if I'm hoping I hope they open it up to more times. But like I tried to get on last night, and I'm sorry, like it's my children's bedtime, so I'm like trying to watch because I wanted to know. But I'm like, can you brush your teeth and do it quietly so I can keep listening to this? And then they stayed up way too late because I wanted to watch it, and I'm like, this is not for my lifestyle to do it or to buy that way. It's just not sustainable. It doesn't mean that it's not for other people, right? Like,
I think it'll be interesting to see how they structure it. And so I'm more excited about what eBay is going to do than what Poshmark and whatnot are doing, because eBay has international buyers. They're launching this new international program. Like that's what I'm excited about.
eBay has the collectors there.
Yes.
Did anyone? So I totally missed. Did you guys attend eBay Open at all? A little bit.
Yes, no, because it was very boring. So I can only do so much.
I watched the first keynote was way too long and I tuned out. I was like, this is obnoxious.
I can't with this keynote.
I feel like they should have broken those up a little bit. Because
it was an hour and a half. Yeah. I cannot focus that long on something like that. Like you should have it in chunks, and I can focus.
Animation and like intervals in between, like a little like cartoon or something to keep.
Yes,
I know.
I just listened to it while I was taking photos.
There was a couple of, I didn't get to, obviously, because they run so many at the same time, even when they're online. Like, I wish they were staggered a little bit, even because it's online. So it should be staggered.
Can we go back and watch them? Like, are they record? Okay, cool. Because I'm going to do that.
So anyone who is watching as well, eBay for Business, YouTube, they've already, from what I've heard, I haven't checked it out. They have already put it on. Some of them, and then I'm hoping to get my session to put on my YouTube channel.
Nice.
Wait, Sarah, what was your session?
I mean, take a guess, Breezy.
Analytics. Duh.
And what's funny is while I was watching the end keynote, eBay was calling me for something else, but the guy was like, I had an eBay phone call while I was watching eBay, and I was like, this isn't right. Like, what's happening? I thought like there was a glitch or something. And the guy was like, you were a beast. And I was like,
awesome. That's awesome.
I think this was such a great opportunity for you, Sarah, on so many levels. Like, what a privilege to be able to go there, meet with them, interact with them, like just everything about it. And the way that they catered to these sellers that came out, and like, it's just such a different experience. And I think what those of us in the Poshmark community are so used to when it comes to this stuff. All right, listen, I'm going to say it. It's true.
Yes. No, I spoke at Poshfest last year, virtual. I spoke at eBay Open virtual this year. Absolutely, 100%. It was a completely different experience.
There's like an old saying, like for talk shows and stuff, like going into the talk show, you get one experience, and exiting the talk show, you get a different experience, right? Like, so they'll limo you in, all the first class, and then you're like, get out. And like eBay, I imagine it's like the going into a talk show experience, and going to Poshmark and doing their thing is like going out.
Yes, 100%.
And I love Poshmark. That's where I make the majority of my money. But man, it's just a totally different experience.
They just don't put that money into their content creator marketing. There's no content creator fund, clearly.
And they're still new, right? Like eBay's been around. They're ancient. They are the leaders in it. And what I will say too, I mean, because I've only been on eBay pushing 4 years now. And when I first got on, it was a very different culture. It was very much, you have to compete with Walmart and Amazon. You have to, like, it was very much that. And I think you saw executives leaving. You saw, right? And now they have, Jamie came back. They had a large portion of their higher ups, the executives that did keynotes and that we met, what did they call them? Boomerangs, maybe, but they left and came back. And them coming back in the past couple of years, you can see that culture is moving to seller focus. And I can tell you, I'm all eBay hyped up because I went out there, but they served their purpose. And Posh Fest, I love Posh. I did what they did. It was a different experience. You got the real that they really did care about these sellers. We had chats. And not only was it prep for eBay Open, but it was chats with Jamie and Jordan and some of these higher ups and like seller experience, all of these different teams that I had no idea who I was talking to.
Yeah. But that's so cool.
No, it was like we had happy hours and I was like talking to people and then I saw them as keynote speakers and I was like, well, he's pretty high up. Like I was talking to him about my autistic kid and we were just like having a good old time. I should have been like picking his brain about like marketing and but the support that they have for sellers, us being out there, and I know there's a couple of people that went with me in the chat and I don't know if they felt the same way, but I think they are moving to like the sellers is what makes them eBay and they want to make us happy. Granted, they can't make everyone happy, but I really got the feeling out of it. And maybe that's just me. Tell me if you guys watch eBay Open, but did you get the feel of like they were really more focused on sellers?
I think they made it a point to say it over and over again in keynotes and in different types of,
telling little stories about sellers.
Yes, like it was very seller focused. It was nice though. It it made it seem like
more personal.
They actually care about me and like me succeeding on the platform and trying to do things that we've been asking for a really long time. But like, so we are greedy as people on these platforms. We want things right now, thinking that technology works that way, but it really doesn't work that way. And we can ask for like the automatic payment thing. I'm sure there's so many factors that play into it, and that's why it hasn't been rolled out yet. And they're saying hopefully
by the end of the year, didn't they? I mean,
that's what they're saying.
If they're telling, I mean, and I don't think any company lies, like blatantly lies.
No.
So I think their intention really is to deliver that. Now, sometimes we have glitches in the road, but I mean, end of the year is not that far. So like that is a pretty good promise to me.
So here's the thing: at eBay Open last year, they said that the end of the year last year.
And that sucks now, Sarah.
But here's the thing, because I've talked to two, like there was an eBay Live meetup in Denver, and I talked to the executives there, and then obviously going out to headquarters, and they both had the same story, which is promising, right? Like that's how you catch the kids lying, is if they both have different stories.
Yeah.
But their story was, and this is what I do appreciate. They said that and I've done a video on it, so if you guys are watching, check out the video on it. But they said that they rolled it out slowly because as a platform as a whole, they only have, I think it was 2 or 3% of payments go unpaid, which is a very low number, right?
Yeah.
So they were rolling it out slowly to make sure that they're not losing more buyers and sellers than that, right? Like that was their threshold. And at the beginning of the year, they were getting a lot of negative feedback. They couldn't indulge in what it was, if it was from buyers or sellers or how they were, like what it was. But that's kind of why they were like, hold on, we don't want to be, we're only losing 2% of unpaid, 2 or 3%, I don't remember exactly, of unpaid. We want to make sure that we're not losing more people in rolling this out. So I appreciate that. And I don't know if I think they probably could be a little bit more transparent. I know that because I had the availability, or I was able to go to these eBay meetups and talk with, some of these higher ups. Everyone doesn't have that, right? So I feel like they probably should have been a little bit more forthcoming with that. I'm going to jump into the chat because we want to know what the negative publicity that Poshmark has been getting recently. I'm out of the loop.
There's
so much.
You indulge us.
Changed. People didn't appreciate that. There was possible fraudulent IPO filings. People didn't appreciate that. The shares dropped they opened at 40. They got internal people to buy, like internal meaning you and I, everyone to buy at 40. I think last time I checked, it was down.
It was like $9-10, something like that.
People are very not happy. There was a class action lawsuit against them. I'm sorry to tell you, it started like a year ago. So like, if you were to join that class action now, are you going to get any money? Probably not. You could get your comeuppance. But yeah, there's a lot of reasons why people are.
Is this new? Like this is even like I took the summer off. This was happening like pre-summer, right?
I want to say it started like right before summer, maybe.
Yeah.
What is time?
I don't even know anymore. When people ask me questions like, when did that happen? I'm like, I don't know. I think from 2019 to now is a complete blur. I have no idea.
We just say pre-pandemic. That like covers.
You have to tell me in real time. I'm like, was that the time where we were all fighting for toilet paper?
Yeah.
Was that the time the monkeypox came in? Like, where are we?
Where are we right now? Because I have no idea. I want to say this was like right before summer started, Sarah, and when all that kind of happened and the search changed, and it was like summer slowdown mixed with search changes, mixed with all these other things that are happening. And I just think there's a lot of movement going on in Poshmark, which isn't a bad thing. I mean, this is kind of what happens when companies go public. I know if you're not well versed in that world of companies going public and stock market and all that. This happens all the time when companies go public. Some of them make it, some of them don't. A lot of times management changes. They try new things and see where it takes them and if they can improve. They usually give them a timeline. The stakeholders will say, you have this amount of time to fix whatever it is, and so that we can see the next earnings call. And if it doesn't happen, there'll be other ramifications for it. This is very normal what we're seeing.
And they are not profitable, but in like none of the resale companies that are public are profitable.
No, a lot of business aren't actually profitable. It's a business strategy, right? Like accounting and making money are two different things.
Oh, and the other scandal was that Manish and the CFO and several higher ups sold a lot of shares. They dumped a lot of shares.
They did. That was like midsummer.
Basically, every time they were allowed to dump shares, they dumped them. That's basically what happened.
But this is not, it's part of the reason that I did it. It's not surprising because Poshmark has never had a straight plan. They're very much like, they want to be in both buckets. We aren't competing, like they've said, we're not competing with eBay. We want to be a social media platform, blah, 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 blah. But then we're going to come out with all of these tools and analytics and things to compete with eBay because our sellers that are actually making us money want these.
For it, yeah.
And it's like, you can't, especially when you have stakeholders now, like you have to pick a mission and you have to stick with it. Like, I don't really care what it is. Do the social thing and then I'll probably go somewhere else, but that's fine. But like, you can't, they keep wibble wobbling around. And I think you're seeing that in their stock prices because you can't figure out what they're about, right?
Right. And at some point,
benefit them, I think.
Yeah. And I think at some point the stakeholders are going to say, all right, we're taking over and this is what we're doing. So bye to whoever that needs to go. And this is the new system we're bringing in with these people. And this happens across the board with all companies that do this, that don't really have a strategic plan put in place. Like they're beyond the 5-year plan at this point. Like, that's, I think, the most frustrating thing. If you understand the way business works, like you guys are way beyond 5 years and still don't have a structure. Like you should have at least had something in place by now. That's the frustrating part.
I think it's a little weird too, because it's like they went with this social thing. So it's like, but I feel like what happened was they were early on that. Like they went
very early.
And really the ones that are being successful with this type of thing are going in with the Gen Z, right? So you have Whatnot and Depop getting very strong and successful. But they Posh was like early. The millennials weren't having it like Gen Z was having it. You know what I mean? Like that's part of the identity crisis. And they don't want to like millennials don't want to let go of skinny jeans. Posh doesn't want to let go of millennials. You know what I mean?
Hey, I have wide leg jeans on today, friends, and I'm
proud of you. Proud of you. I can't do it, man. I'll do a straight, like a tapered straight that is basically a slim. I can do that, but
the wide or the low waist. I'm sorry.
No, I can't do low waist. I did that. I'm done.
I did it, and it was cute when I was like 19, 20. But this is like 2 kids later. Like,
well, I couldn't even do it then. Like, I have a large rump. Like the wide leg, like it does not fit over. It's like plumber. It is not a cute look. And
yeah, I thought that was cute to have a little tiny crack showing back in the day.
Different strokes for different folks. Apparently, our teenage years were vastly different, Breezy. No problem.
Hilarious.
Yeah. So I guess, there's a lot of things that we could say about Poshmark, but like, I don't want to bash them because they make me a lot of money. So I'm not going to bash them. You know what I mean? Like other things I wish that would change. Yeah. That's with any platform. And I think they just need to be more transparent and just communicate more. And I think with this Posh Live, it could have been communicated a little differently maybe, but I do appreciate them putting it into beta. I more than likely they're going to reach out to everyone who does a live and want feedback from them, especially from the larger sellers that are doing it. Like, what else can we do? What are you seeing on other platforms you're going live on? So I think they're going to take all of that. They're actually going to do what we basically told them to do over the summer when we were like, hey, can you just be transparent and tell us what the hell you're doing?
Which is good. Like, it's good. They're listening. That is the first step. And I agree. I don't
the lives went well. So, we have to give them accolades when they're due.
Absolutely.
And the lives went well. You know what I mean? So I have to say that was a good addition to the cast, I think. Like they were smart on this one.
And I think it was fun to see them all excited doing their lives, selling their stuff. Like it was nice to see them on there and be excited about it and like actually engage with the community. Like there's something to be said about that. That was very nice to see, regardless of what you think about any of them that work at Poshmark. I think it's great. I think it's great. But I think my real excitement lies with eBay and what that's going to look like, because international sellers, listen, most of my sales are international at this point, and that excites me more so than domestic buyers. Sorry, but it's true.
I would
more.
consider doing a live on eBay because in vintage it's very tricky. You know what I mean? Like I don't want to lose money on stuff, and I don't know. I mean, it's they're niche items, even though it's worth maybe $350 to the right person. It's not worth $350 to most people. You know what I mean?
Are you going to get that person in your life? Is it
right? And that's what's scary. But eBay is like, that's the only one where I could see the potential being there for me, and I would say other vintage people, because yeah, like, and literally Japan loves Americana vintage. Yes. So if you had enough Japanese collectors in there, you could definitely get high prices. And I think you can judge by seeing, what have I put on auction on eBay and how well has it done? Are those eyes on the prize already?
Right. And so for me, like, I don't sell bidding war type things. I think both of you probably do. Like, Daniela, you sell, I mean, some of your stuff. I mean, I don't think anyone's going to be bidding over my, like, American Eagle high-waisted mom jeans, right? Like, there's 7,000 of them on eBay right now. Just go buy a pair, right? And this is what kind of concerns me with what what I sell, that I don't know that it's going to work as well as the time. I'm excited about eBay's lives as well. Friends, I see, this is where I need a moderator for a YouTube live, and I'm not even selling anything. Like, the chat, I'm like so enthralled with you guys. I'm like, we gotta.
That's okay. People like it too when you're having good conversations. So
okay. I look over, and then I'm like, oh yeah, there's people here. Tori is here. Tori, you are welcome on whenever. I am. So if you guys watch eBay Open, I don't know if I should announce this because we haven't fully. I'm gonna announce it, and then if it doesn't happen, life happens. So Anna from eBay Open, she did the bin. Oh
my God, she was my favorite presentation besides yours. I loved her.
And that's what I have heard. We connected so well because we met at eBay Open Prep, and we connected so well, and we have a lot of the same philosophies. She was on Wednesday.
Yes.
Anyway, so I think we're going to try and do like just a weekly like chat like this, and open it up to other people. My point in all of that is, Tori, you are welcome on if we do that anytime, because Tori always has amazing insight, as well as you two ladies, other people out there who want to join as well, if it happens. We're in chats right now. I'm just so excited about it. I sell on 3 platforms, definitely. And this is the hard part too, is like, I was telling my husband, how do you cross list? Then you're doing 3 lives on YouTube, Poshmark, or you don't because you're selling everything, right? The volume.
But now it changes your whole process, right? Because you're not going to cross list anything, and then whatever doesn't sell now, like if you're doing Whatnot, we'll use Whatnot as the example. Now, if it doesn't sell, now you've got to actually take like real photos of it and measurements and like all of that stuff and list it. And then so now you're adding additional time to your process. This is why I can't get into the whole Whatnot thing. I think people are succeeding on there doing the liquidation and whatever else. Like people that you don't need to have a large following to be on there. I think it's helpful, but no, I don't think you need a large social media following to be on there. But the people that are succeeding that I have seen, that I've had the tolerance to even watch, I guess, because I'm so disinterested after 10 minutes, like I'm out, bye. I want nothing to do with these. My brain can't do it, Sarah. Like I sit there and it's not the people. It's just like, I'm just disinterested in it.
Yeah. I don't know.
I'm disinterested. Like I need like Real Housewives in the corner of the box that I could be watching, and then like they're doing the live right here, and then I could do it.
Okay, so that's what I'll do on my Posh Life. When I do it, I'm gonna have
the TV on with Real Housewives in the background. Ultimate girls trip, please.
Yeah, right. I don't know. I totally lost my train of thought, but yeah, that's that.
Yeah, sorry, we interrupted. I mean that's kind of my thing too, and I'm not, but I understand that I'm the old grandma right now. Like
you're not though, because I think they're younger people. I mean, you're not that much older than me. We're almost the same age.
No, and you know what? I see Gen X's. I see a lot of Gen X's watching. I do see a lot of Gen X's watching and buying on Whatnot, and I see Gen X's doing it. You know, I'm sure there's even a boomer there.
I'm sure. In the collectibles, probably.
Yeah. Oh, actually, they're probably like QVC all over again. Yeah.
Yeah. Was that you that I saw that someone was calling it the QVC? Was it you?
I mean, that's kind of what it is.
A lot of people have said that about it because it's very, I mean, it's like, QVC 2.0. I mean, I want to throw out some numbers for everyone because we're like doing a live and we're talking about it. Like, so Whatnot takes 8%. Poshmark is taking 20%.
But Poshmark, I'm with Daniela, time is money, and it's already in there. I've been watching Whatnot and I have not jumped on it because of time. Poshmark, I'm like, well, it's already there.
Like, I already know what to expect, whatever.
And I can pull a report and I can, but yeah, the 20%. And I have been reading, hopefully they fix this. I have been reading in the people who did lives, they don't, if you buy more than one, you're paying the shipping.
They're not stacking the shipping. But I honestly feel like it was beta and they're going to fix that.
Yes, I hope they fix that.
I think so.
I mean, now I will say eBay, we don't know what percentage they're taking, but you have to think that they take a different percentage for buy it now and a different percentage for auctions. So will it be a completely different percentage for lives? I think so.
Oh, absolutely. eBay's going to break it down totally different.
Oh yes, and you probably won't know. There'll be like some report that you'll have to like figure out that I'll have to make a YouTube video on. So subscribe to my channel. So that
I will be like at 5% here, 2% here, 37 over here if this happens.
Although I will say, so one of the things that they did announce is they are trying to be a lot more transparent in all of these things. And they were showing some new features that are coming out to kind of break down the fees a little bit better, because it is, I mean, I appreciate that, like, you have different fees because you do promoted listing. Like, there's different reasons that you have different fees, but it is not just a flat 20%. And they're trying to show a little bit more back end transparency in the amount of people. My biggest video on YouTube right now is eBay fees.
Yeah, because it's confusing.
It is, and it's like a 4-minute video that I did, so it's great for me.
And it's gotten less confusing, but it's still confusing.
Yeah. It is. It's one of those things where I think was never explained from the first, like from the get-go, and then it just accumulates over time, and you're like, okay, whatever you tell me, eBay. I have no idea what I'm doing right now.
Yes, fingers crossed. So Tori is saying, and I'm interested, I only watched the Posh Kings last night quickly because, like I said, it was kids' bedtime, but I haven't seen any of them yet. Do you pull items out of inventory, steam them, and show them?
Live, yeah.
They are showing them live, and this is my other concern. I was talking to someone else who just did a whatnot, but same process, and she was like, I just pulled my stale inventory, and I was like, that's so much time. And then if it doesn't, and then you have to steam it. I don't steam for anything, like, but now you have to steam and fold it up. And
I'll say this because I do pop-ups because I'm in California, and that's another reason I don't get into lives that much, because we have pop-ups year round, and like that's very lucrative for us in California. But I understand that the rest of the country doesn't have that, However, doing pop-ups, like, I cannot store my clothes the way I used to, and I have to hanging rack them now because I'm not going to be pulling them in and out, right? So basically by season, I pull what's going to be at shows, and those are on the hangers, and what's not in season goes into bags, and that's then, at least I'm just doing it 4 times a year. So I assume if you become a live seller, like, you're going to have to move into some kind of system like that, And I will say, yes, it gets more difficult to stay organized when you're doing, because it's fast paced. A lot of things are selling, and, so you haven't, I mean, we're all so used to the bin system. You know what I'm talking about? We all have it down. Thank you. Right? We all have it down packed. It's a different system when it comes to pop-ups and lives. And the one is Millennial Mouse. Ashley is the one. She's got her systems in place.
That's the one. On Whatnot, she has systems in place?
Yes. Okay. She does sales. She sells a ton. And I was like, Ashley, how do you do this? Because I swear one day she was like, and I got everything shipped in like 45 minutes. I was like, I could ship 3 things in 45 minutes.
Well, that's the thing too. And as awful as it sounds, they're like, oh, like I was talking to someone this morning and they did their first Whatnot. And we were chatting about it. And she's like, I sold 63 items and I had a little mini panic attack. I'm like, how are you going to ship? Like, I don't want, this sounds so like privileged or something, but like, I want those sales, but shipping 63 items after about 20, I'm like, I'm good. Like, and having the time, I mean, I'm pretty fast. I do 2 minutes an item. That still would take me hours. That would be like my entire day.
Yeah.
But then, I mean, I know people that are like, I do it once a week and then I just work once a week, right? Like they do a live once a week. They work that day. And then like my time, it's just a lot to think about behind the scenes, that the FOMO on social media is like, I'm selling all these things. And I'm kind of thinking behind the scenes, right? I think
I've done like big sales before because I've moved a lot. So I've done these like liquidation types of sales where I'm selling on the low. And I know what it's like to ship that many things. It's horrible. I literally almost got a divorce last time because I made my husband help me. And he was like, never again are you allowed to do this? And then he never says aloud to me, but I was like, it's okay this time because I messed up.
We're not doing this again. Don't you
worry. Never doing this for ourselves again. We both were nearly in the mental institution. Like I was like, I can't. We just had like tape and paper everywhere. I was like going insane. So I don't want to do it. And I know what you were saying, Sarah, like, oh, it sounds obnoxious. And what was that one model who's like, I don't get out of bed for less than $10,000 a day. But I'm like, I don't package something for less than like $20. I'm sorry. Like, I can't.
Right. Especially if you're doing like bids starting at $2 and then you're like, cool, I had 63 sales and I'm negative. So now I'm spending 7 hours shipping and I'm negative in money. Tori's saying time and inventory management will get messed up. So I think it's possible, but we're just all going, especially those of us who have processes. If you're watching my channel or you follow any of these ladies, you're probably in a similar boat where we have processes or we're trying to get processes. We're in that boat and it's going to have to change. And for my mind, I don't want change.
My brain can't do it
right now. People were like, I don't want change. These young kids, like I'm at that age now.
But also I just found a process that works for me. So I don't want to change everything all over again and like try to, and the other part of it is like, how much is live sales really going to contribute to my monthly revenue that's going to be coming in? And if it's not going to, then I'm not changing things for it. Like I might try it.
And it's like, okay, during the pandemic, live sales were popping off and Instagram was going crazy. People were selling crazy. And I'm sure that that's when this ball got in motion for all that.
Oh, yeah, right? Absolutely.
And we know for a fact, you can talk to the Instagram live sellers who are doing wildly successful sales. They all will tell you it is not what it was. It is not what it was. Because people can do things now. That's the truth. Right. So, listen, live sales are coming to America. That's a fact. Are they coming in resale? I don't know. Yeah. Sneakers, probably, because sneakers are collectibles, right?
Collectibles, yeah.
Collectibles will get you there, but like, I don't know that we're going to always do it I don't know. We'll see. I'm not going to say absolutely not. We'll see what happens. I will also say this. Poshmark is public. And Poshmark has a history of not offering money to their like people. So I don't think there's not gonna be bells and whistles, I don't think, for selling live. eBay, old platform, they do take care of people. They might pay some live people to come over initially and like get a good thing going. I can see that happening.
For sneakers, of course.
For sneakers, you're right. You're absolutely right.
I'm sure. I didn't get to catch the eBay live. So they did 2 demos and I didn't realize they were doing demos and I went to run errands or something during both of them. So did you guys, either one of you, catch the eBay live demos?
I didn't.
If anyone in the chat caught them. I didn't fully get, like they announced it, but I didn't get when they were going to start it. My guess would be they're going to start with sneakers or collectible. Like we probably
sneakers, watches, something that's always on their homepage.
Like that, yeah.
Yes. So it'll be interesting to see. I don't have
handmade.
I'm thoroughly surprised that Poshmark did it so quickly. I don't have high hopes that eBay will be. I don't think we'll be able to do it in eBay for like a year. Tori saying handmade could get big too with live showing how your items are made. I always make sales when I'm on TikTok. Last week we did the Whatnot, and Leslie of Resellers Passion said she was on like 6 platforms, I think, and now she's down to 2 and she's making more money because she's doing Whatnot. She is selling her handmade items like skyrocketing because you can show it, and which is awesome too. Like you can sit there and like make it and show, like the potential for handmade, I think, is definitely.
I agree. I think it's all going to come down to niche.
Mm-hmm. They added something where I think you can do like a storytelling now.
Yeah.
So again, becoming more social in the app. I do think Whatnot is going to do well. I do think they're going to do well. I just don't know like where we fit our community fits. And they started with collectibles. They did not just reach out to resell. It wasn't like they were like collectibles and now resellers, you golden kids. No, they have like multiple communities that they're pushing. And they could also realize like, y'all ain't it. You know what I mean? Right now they have a huge valuation. They have a huge amount of funding. Huge.
Yes. So there is, and I know some, I'm not going to say names, but I know some social media people and the amount that they are getting paid.
Yeah.
Right.
I found out some of this the other day too, and I was like, oh my God, they want to give you how much?
They got big boy money.
It is, which is why it's like, is it FOMO? Like we are FOMO, but it's not real, right? There all of these like hype and these I'm selling this much, but you're also getting paid, or you're doing all of these giveaways. Like Whatnot, Poshmark's not giving me a Gucci bag to give away on a live. Like,
yeah, they are taking care of people who are doing well. So like there's a lot of giveaways going on that they're paying for the giveaways, you know, like, and they're good things, you know. Then they paid content creators actual dollar bill amounts to come over. And on top of it, there's the referral fee. So if you refer a seller, and I don't know if that's still going on, but it was for a while, it was $250 per seller that you got to do a show on the app. So that, like, a lot of people got it wrong. Anti whatnot. I was never anti whatnot. I like I said, it's here to stay. I guarantee that. But when people were hyping it to our community, they were getting a lot of kickbacks for hyping it. You know what I mean? So you always gotta like look at all the pieces. Look at all the pieces.
Which is like the Whatnot live that I had last week. I had one person that is very successful, but definitely a influencer for Whatnot. And then one person, Tori was one of them. She's like, I tried it, it wasn't for me. And one person who has a smaller social media following and has been trying it organically, like us, right? It would be us. And anyone watching this for 8 months and is still like, I just haven't got the hang of it. And that's where I'm like, I don't know if that's worth my time, but I also don't want to be the person who's not willing to change with the times, right? Which is why I signed up for Poshmark Live. So watch my live. I don't even know when it is. You have to do training and stuff first. But I think
the Poshmark one, I think you would enjoy. I think
it's not at 7 o'clock at night. I hope they have different times. I'm not spending my nights and weekend doing this.
Daniela was talking about doing things that bring you joy as well, right? And I know like Melissa, what is her handle? Garden State Garbage, maybe. She is a mom of like 2 young kids, and she just gets on with her 7-year-old, right? And she's like, I don't do any prep. None. And it's true. She's like, this is vintage. I don't know from when, but I just know it's vintage, right? It's like, it's really cute. And her 7-year-old is presenting. And the point is really for them to have fun, make a few bucks. And she's teaching her daughter, though. She's teaching her daughter.
And she's probably getting the
followers to give her daughter the Whatnot channel. And I was like, that's fun. That's bonding. And that's educational. Like, I'm all for it. Like, if you're doing it like that, you know, I think that's great. And like, obviously, some people are making a killing on it. You know what I mean? So is it worth trying all these things? Sure. You know, but don't be putting up your Louis Vuitton and be like 99 cents start.
So Tori's saying it's a $200 seller referral. On Poshmark, you get a $5 credit if you guys refer someone for the live.
All right, $5. Count me in. Credit. All right.
Credit, right. So they're giving you $5 so that they also get 20% of that $5 back.
Fantastic.
Sorry, that was bad. Mine are
but it's true.
I know. 11 a.m. during
sometimes it's 10. Sometimes they kick it up to 10.
Remember when they did those credits? Like if you posted certain things at the beginning of the year and then they just stopped because they couldn't keep up with it all.
They didn't realize we were all going to talk about it on social media and get each other to do it.
I know. I was like, I already list this anyways. All I have to do is click one button to do it.
So maybe. They got like 5, like every day for 3 months. They're like 5 days in. We canceled the program.
We're not doing this anymore, guys. Sorry.
Amazing.
That's amazing. So we are, I don't have anything. Grandma has the kids for a little bit, so I can stay on later. I know.
Oh, yay. I was going to say, I don't have to leave yet. So
no, we are approaching the hour. So if people have to leave, Breezy, I know eventually you have children to pick up. I haven't heard your alarm.
Oh, I don't pick them up. They just come.
Oh my God. That's glorious.
They just show up.
They show up. It's one of their birthdays. I was like, you're still walking.
So we do a charter school, so they don't have buses, which is kind of a bummer, but it's a mile away. And so I'm like, they learned their bikes, and I'm like riding to the school every single day to be like, we can do this. So eventually in like 2 or 3 years, they'll be old enough. And then they can ride their bikes and I don't have to with them.
Yeah. Luckily my kids only have to go 2 straight blocks. Like that's it. Like it's very simple.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's really my oldest did the bus for a while, and now he's 16 and 5.
Oh goodness!
I know, it's wild. It's wild. That's all.
There's something we didn't talk about from eBay Open that I'm surprised you didn't bring up yet.
We've been
photos.
The 20. I was going to say the 24 photos.
I have a list of all the things that they announced. I don't know if you want to talk about that.
Did we really ask for 24? Well, y'all like 12 wasn't enough.
Right. So I'm fine with 12. I think the 24 is for, again, you guys can probably guess who it's for. The luxury sellers, the sneaker sellers, the collectibles. Like when you log on to eBay and there's a banner for something, like, and that's what's making their money. So I'm not hating on them for it at all.
Well, and I lied. Once in a blue moon when I have a really crazy old piece and I'm trying to show all the little details and the shearing and this, there's occasionally where I'm like, oh, I have to cut photos out. Not often, but it does happen.
Yeah. I mean, and like I used to make collages when Poshmark was like 4 photos.
Oh my God.
We were there like
back in the day.
Top is like Oh, please, love God, give me another photo.
I know. So 12 is, or 24 is like whatever. But they're also doing, so with it, they're also doing video, which they've had for a while. I think they're trying to promote that a little bit more. And then sneakers. I mean, anyone can do it, but it's definitely for sneakers, like a 3D version.
They have the Lazy Susan, right? And they spin the Lazy Susan around.
Wait, do we have any of our cross-posting apps with video capabilities yet? Does anyone know if any of them have it?
Not that I know of.
Yeah, on it, Vendu, One Shop. What's the other one? List Perfectly.
List Perfectly. All of them.
All of y'all.
Well,
you know, whoever gets it first, I'm coming over.
Well, right. I'm thinking too, not only with a cross listing, which is a good point, but just like taking up space on my computer. Like if I have to do a video and I send it to my virtual assistants, like that's a lot. If a video and my stuff's not like,
yeah, but get this, like with the horrors that Instagram and social media have presented us with, the reels and the TikTok
reels,
we basically I mean, I don't know about y'all, but like every time I photo, I take video now because it's a quick reel for me to be like, 1970s Western, look at this Wrangler Cowboys, you know, and then that's it. Like, and it maybe doesn't get a million views, but it gets enough to sell the piece, you know? Yeah. So like, I feel like we're already doing it because social media is trying to torture us. So like, now I have it. I can just throw it up for
see, our reels are different because my reels are like I'm doing an activity and so I video it. Like one of my best reels last month was me vacuuming my office. I was like, okay, weirdos, like why do you want to watch me vacuum? But I don't like do my but vintage, I think, especially because you
so different for vintage
a lot, like you model a lot of your stuff too, I think, and there's so many like unique pieces, which is why I stopped doing vintage.
Also, I modeled pre-pandemic, and then the pandemic happened, and there was a lot of snacking.
I think my most favorite thing that I've seen you do, Breezy, recently is when you did the lingerie shoot and the videos and the photos that went along with that, and you made it into a reel and a post. Yes. That was probably, first of all, it was very creative, but I really enjoyed watching that because I actually learned something when I was watching it. Like, because I love vintage, but like I just don't have the capacity to get into that realm of things as well. Maybe someday, but right now it's just not my repertoire. And I just think that's really great. Like, what a great way to try to sell vintage lingerie pieces. And there's someone else on Poshmark that I follow who I believe lives in Boston. So she's local to me. She does very similar type of like very short snippet reels of like her showing lingerie or showing a slip. And it's like just like showing that one piece on her body and that's it. It's very short, 10 seconds sometimes.
I will say I follow Sonic Wave Vintage, and she does an amazing job of putting reels together where she does cute dances. She's adorable looking, you know, so she looks cute in her vintage. She does cute dances. And then there's just silly. They're just like, do, you know, but she tells you the history of the piece, whether it's the history of the brand or the history of the piece itself. Like this is this type of vintage. And that's very cool because you're getting a cute visual, but you're also learning, you know, like you're saying, like you're getting a little history. And so you do want to, it makes you want to watch more. And as you both know, the longer someone watches your video, the better you are.
Clicking onto other videos. So this is interesting because I was talking to my husband about this. As you know, at the beginning of this live, we were talking about I gotta like rein it in. I'm doing too many things. And YouTube, I hit 10K, and I feel like YouTube is almost like the eBay of reselling, right? Like it's the big dog. It's where people go to learn, but there's other social media that are getting into it and like space for them. But I'm thinking about like stopping TikTok. I just can't get it. And it's one, like I can make it short and put it other places, but it's extra time. Point in this question is, do you feel like people my content is like teaching. Do you feel like people come to other like Instagram and TikTok to learn? Or is that like, I feel like YouTube is much more like the learning space and TikTok, like little tidbits here and there, but it's much more like entertainment type of stuff.
So they've done some like, I guess, statistics on this, like polling, and they're finding that the younger generations are actually going to TikTok to learn, not YouTube anymore. And I'll be honest, as a person who's very ADHD, that is also where I go to get my information. Like I can't do YouTube unless I really have to see, like if I'm tackling like plumbing or something, I'm like, okay, let me get the visual, you know, but otherwise, if I want to learn something, I'm like, yeah, teach me in 15 seconds, please, with like dynamic music.
Right, which is what Tori's saying, and now that she says that, that's all her content is.
That's true. Tori does super, and I watch her stuff all the time, and I'm like, Tori, I swear to God, I'm always thinking like I'm gonna be a master somewhere because of you. I'm like, okay, the trick that Tori said, get the fork out, and I'm like, oh, I think I broke my machine. Like, what happened? I gotta watch.
I used to do upcycle too, and every time I see her stuff, I'm like, I'm gonna do it again, and then I look at my like sewing machine that hasn't been used in 10 years, and I'm like, this isn't going to work.
I'm like a curse word. She gets me started on so many projects, and I'm like, why am I doing this?
And her knitting now, and I'm like, yeah, I can knit. Like she has like a new machine. Have you seen like her? And I was like, oh yeah.
Oh my god, yes, the knit. I was almost getting that, and the mending, the little mending thing. Tori has got me on. I've got it all saved in my Amazon like little things, my Amazon cart.
Hopefully from her link. I hope you're clicking on her link so she's getting credit. So let's talk a little bit about more. I think we've kind of covered the live, unless people have questions.
Well, you know what I want to mention, because Tori said something in the comments I thought was interesting. She's like, it's a different audience for Instagram and TikTok, and that's like very true. And why often we have to do like multiple social medias is because it's completely. I mean, of course, there's crossover, but like it is really different audiences on YouTube and Instagram and TikTok. I even know from my tea, like people will be like asking me about a YouTuber, and I'm like, I don't know that tea. Like, I have to reach out to my YouTube people. I'm like, what is the tea?
That's funny. So Anna is here.
Is that the Anna? Okay.
Anna. So Anna, I was telling people that we're going to be doing a live. We haven't fully confirmed it, so like hopefully starting in October. So in 2 weeks, hopefully you're going to see me and Anna. And I think it's going to be very similar to this, where we're just chatting about our weeks, things that come up in the reselling world, lots of good content. She has 12,000 items on eBay.
I thought you were going to say 12 kids. I don't know. Okay.
I like how the 12 kids is more shocking than the 12,000 items on eBay to Breezy.
And more devastating too. She's like,
yeah, like one was a bonus and one was not. One makes
she's the 2 kitties. Okay.
Oh Lord, that was hilarious. Okay, 2 cats is acceptable.
Anna, your presentation was great, and I think it was probably like top 2. Sarah was my top one.
Right.
Sarah's my top 1. So you were my top 2.
She does have a book about eBay that she wrote. So I'm going to do a full plug for her. And I think she's a moderator too. So you can leave your link in here. I know 12K. It's amazing. So definitely follow Anna on Instagram, and then keep an eye out. If we do a live, we'll just be chatting. I think something like this, kind of Fridays, happy hour. Maybe we won't be drinking every time, but I feel like it makes it a little bit. Or other things, Breezy, if you're in California.
Just for today.
Anna, is that her Instagram handle as well?
It's very similar. She can, and I think she's on a moderator, so you can leave your Instagram handle, Anna, as well as your book as well.
Found her.
Okay. So other things that came out of eBay Open. What's funny is, so we went to give you a little bit of background. So I'm coming out tomorrow with a video after talking with executives. It's like 6 myths, all of these things that there's like a black box, and we're like, this free shipping actually in the algorithm is listing daily. So I like asked, I mean, you know me, I asked all these questions. I'm making a video. If you are a member, I haven't plugged that at all. I just opened up memberships for YouTube. So a different way to mentor a little bit more one-on-one, or the bottom tier is just, extra emojis to support me.
Wait, but that for 2 seconds. So it's like Patreon kind of, is that what it's like?
Yeah, but on YouTube.
Cool. Very cool.
I looked into Patreon and I was like, well, that's right. In our conversation earlier, I was like, that's a whole nother thing for me to learn. I know YouTube. So I'm going to stick with YouTube because it was like 4 buttons to click to like.
Yeah, no, I mean, I love that I love that the platforms are adding this actually, because I think it makes it really easy for people. And
yeah,
it's easier to get followers to join, because you know those extra clicks.
Yes. Yes. The extra clicks, which is a bummer, because if you are watching on an iOS, like an Apple phone, you can't join. There's like some disagreement with like the payments or something. You have to be on a web browser or an Android, which is like
that's the weirdest thing ever. Like, Android never gets it first.
I was gonna say.
I was like, it's like some disagreement in like how they pay. Like I think Apple probably wants some of the revenue for being on.
I'm sure they do.
Yeah, because they get a cut of Meta.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They get a cut from everything.
Right.
Yeah, I think I'm signing a check to them right today. No, I'm just kidding. They're gonna cut in my vintage sales, y'all.
I feel like we were going somewhere with something and I don't remember. So let's go.
eBay. You were talking to the execs about blah blah
Oh, yes,
blah.
6 things that I learned. The memberships got the video on Wednesday, so they've been able to watch it. So if you are a member, you get videos prior. It's coming out tomorrow of, a lot of these black box items that I ask executives. I'm also working on getting one of the executives on my channel to like ask her directly these questions and hear it from her. So keep out. I think that's coming out this week and watch out for that. But some of the things when we were there, they were like picking our brains on all these things. And then they like announced them all at eBay Open. And I was like, like they didn't tell us, but they were like, what do you guys think about this? And what do you, and I'm like, oh, these are things you guys were going to announce in 3 weeks. So a couple of the things that they announced, eBay Live, we've talked extensively about with Poshmark as well. International shipping, they're doing a new program and everyone is going to slowly migrate over. Y'all can probably guess, I don't know if this is true, but you can probably guess who's going to go first. But it sounds like it's going to be kind of like the GPS, but not as expensive, where they're going to take on the liability and make it easier, take over the returns and just make it.
That was like one thing though, because you don't have international returns with GSP.
Right. So they're going to allow it, but then they're going to take on the liability for it.
Oh, okay. So it's better.
I like the return thing with my international sales, but all right, we'll account for it now.
Okay.
In theory, it's better and it's cheaper because GPS is expensive. So I actually do international standard shipping for anything under 100 because they cover up to 100 and most of my stuff is under 100. So it's cheaper for the buyers. You don't have as much coverage, but I don't sell anything over 100. I mean, anything that's over $100, I do GPS.
Yeah.
But they cover up to $100. So for me, it's not. But was one big thing that came out. They're also, which is interesting, coming out with a domestic flat rate. So similar to Poshmark.
Wow.
Where you, of course, I know this one for sure. They're starting with sneakers. Because I said it. They're starting with sneakers and it's going to be a $14 flat rate, which I feel like isn't that, depending on the sneaker. Sometimes I cram a sneaker into a padded flat rate envelope.
I mean, if it fits, whatever.
Yeah, so it's like $8. But for the most part, you're putting them either in like a medium-sized box or a shoe box. And so $14 and you just print it out, right? That's essentially what I got. So it's going to be easier to get new people on. Not quite so scary. Feel free to jump in on any of these things you guys want to talk about. Offers, we did touch on this. This has been long going. If you guys are just jumping on, we talked about this maybe a half hour ago, and I do have a video on it, but they said after the holidays. So I would guess at the end of the year, beginning of next year, they're going to have automatic payments for offers. I have had a couple buyers that are like, hey, I sent an offer and I had to pay right away. And I was like, yeah, imagine that.
Wow.
Right. I mean, this isn't layaway. Like, it's not Kmart from the 90s. Get it together.
I know.
It is a culture that eBay has cultivated, so it is what it is. But they said by the end of the year. So hopefully they can do that. 24 photos. Anything else? More transparency in fees and just getting paid. So right now you can do like weekly, and I just do weekly and monthly.
I do weekly. You can do immediate now, right? But there's a fee associated with it. Just like when you take things immediately from PayPal, it's the same.
You can do daily too. I do daily. I'm like, give me my money.
You have a daily option?
I think so. But I think they have slowly been rolling that out, and then they like announced it. But then you can do like immediate to like your debit card for a fee if you need.
But there's like a little fee for sure. Yeah.
Sometimes the little fee is worth it, depending on where you're at with your money. Let me tell you, there are times where I'm like, all right, it's okay, PayPal. Take the $2.74.
Yeah.
Less.
Sometimes that's a lifesaver.
Yes, for sure.
I think that's a big deal because even with other platforms, I don't know how Whatnot works with their payouts. I have no idea, so I can't speak to it. But with Poshmark, it sometimes depends on your bank. Can take 24 hours. Sometimes it can take longer.
Yes,
it just depends.
See, and the bookkeeping side of me is like, I do weekly because if you do daily, that's 7 transactions that you have to account for on the back end.
But you could do it at the end of the week, Sarah.
Yeah, but it's like 7 line items. And I'm going to say my husband does the bookkeeping, so I don't think he would appreciate like during the summer, usually on Poshmark, I go in and like send it whenever I think about it. But over the summer, I wasn't really working. And he was like, you have like 3 deposits on Poshmark. And I was like, but they're big amounts. Like, it's just because I wasn't on there every day to like think about going there. I was doing other things, and it was like,
Posh makes me nervous though. I'm always getting my money out of Posh.
The second I know that someone approved anything, I'm like, thank you very much. I'm going to take that right now.
Yes.
I don't care.
I've known people who've lost, like people have taken the account and got the money. Like it happens. That's not a bank.
I've also seen circulating. I don't know if this is happening to everyone. It's happened to a few people on Poshmark where like random listings are showing up on their account that are not theirs. And it's not like they've been hacked or anything. So something is going on in the back end.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little, which, I mean, if you see it, if you tell Poshmark, they're obviously going to work on it, and they want to protect you. Obviously, they want to keep you on the platform. But on platforms, like, they're not FDIC approved on any platform. So take your money as soon as you can.
Right. Yeah.
Do not leave it in there.
I'm always getting that money.
Sarah.
I'm like, it's $7. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Give me my money.
I don't think about it, and I turn all my notifications off. And I wouldn't be surprised if I mean, maybe not, but if I was asked to be part of the beta, because someone told me like if you were a past speaker, you were asked, I delete all their emails. I don't have my notifications on. Like,
this is gonna shock everyone. I was not asked.
You don't say.
I was a speaker twice. Wasn't I a speaker twice? Or once, something like that.
Were you really?
I was a recent speaker. I was a speaker last year, and for the most part, I don't say bad things about them. How's that, Breezy?
Direct hit to Breezy right there.
No, I own it.
We need someone to do it, and we love it, and I'm here for it. If you're just...
You mean you don't make reels with Manish's face and your mouth moving? Like, you don't do that?
I make reels of me vacuuming my office.
Yeah. So shocking that I wasn't asked. So weird. That like our live.
I may not have been, but my point is I don't have my notifications on. I delete most of my, I think all my emails.
I don't have any Poshmark notifications on at all. I don't care. I will check it when I check it. Have a good day. Like, please don't tell me what the quote of the day is. I don't care. I'll get my own motivational quote.
We've selected 475 items just for you.
Oh, I hate that one. Don't tell me what's dropping. I don't care what's dropping. I don't care.
I do wonder if, and I was thinking about this, I wonder if their Poshmark lives will take over their Posh parties, because those are like so not a
That would be
anymore.
Fantastic. I'd be okay with that.
Yes. And I think it could be like a new wave to like, nobody likes them anymore.
I think it would make sense though, because that's when people are most active on the app, is when they're doing the parties. So that would make sense to me.
Yes, and no one cares about the parties. So like, let's move it into something hopefully people care about. Tori's saying you've seen listings show up twice. Kiddos are home. Show up twice.
See, so you are too. So this something is happening, and maybe they're changing things on the back. I mean, live shows are out, so something might have been glitchy on their end. But like random things are popping up on people's Poshmark stores.
I just redeemed $2.05 on Posh.
Tori,
you're welcome.
Tori knows.
Oh my God, I can't.
Every $2.05 counts, guys. Every
keep Poshmark, and Poshmark is like, that cost them a fee for $2. They anyway, keep Poshmark in top shape. No working for free. Yes, we will. The Thrifty Broad is here.
No problem there. You won't see the three of us working for free. Thank you very much.
Oh, for sure not. I don't even want to work for
like, I feel like when I first was on Posh, and they would ask me, I'd be like, I gotta go to this party, and I did the things I share. I was sharing my like really.
Oh my God, sharing by hand.
Like these young Poshers don't know.
I initiated a bot way before people in the community were talking about it, and I had to like hold it in because I was going to get shamed and banned from the community. Like
we chatted about it.
I told you about it before,
and I was like, if Daniela's doing it, I trust her, but anybody else, like,
and I get it from a source that's very reputable.
I still was nervous. I was like, that was a fluke that worked for you.
Yeah,
I am nervous, like, to promote it, right? Because we get affiliates, and I'm like, should I put this on my social media? If you're watching, it is down below. You get 10% off.
Now we all do. We're like, use this robot.
Right, because when I say it's been like 3 years since I've been using it. Was it 3 years ago, Sarah? I think it was.
Yeah, it's been a while. I think you and then actually the Thrifty Broad had told me too that she was using one. And I was like, okay, they haven't got kicked out. These are people that I like legit trust, but they weren't telling, right? Like you didn't tell people. Oh my God, hosting parties, sharing others, speaking, promoting others, so much waste of time. I did this sharing. They asked me a couple times to do a party and I was like, what do I get? And they're like, well, a party. And I was like, I'm good.
I don't want a party.
That sounds like a lot. And I even asked people, like, do you see a increase in sales? And they were like, no. And I'm like, then why are you spending an hour and more time like finding hosts? Have you ever sold
I used
an item from a host
just because you get that host a party, you put the sign up, everyone starts commenting because they want a host pick. So then after the party, I would always run a sale. And this is like back in the day before you could actually before I had bots and all that. So like I would run a sale and I would change that to like, oh, I'm running a sale, and then like drop the price on it and keep dropping the price so that people would keep seeing that the item.
I remember that.
Old school way. That was the old school
I remember that.
And it did work. Like I would sell. And so that was the only reason I used to host a party, because I could do that. I would get that. It was basically like getting an email list, but you had a tag list.
I think I came in like right when that was like not so much, because you've been on.
I totally remember doing that.
Yeah, I didn't.
I've only hosted a party once because I wanted to experience it, because I think it's okay to experience something once.
Super.
And that was one and done. I was all set.
And it's not. I'm now thinking about it. Like I don't know if people just don't pick my stuff anymore, but I haven't really seen the emoji spamming or the host picking or the
me neither.
Really...
Oh, I get them.
Okay, so apparently, like we're not where it's at, Breezy.
That's fine. Your stuff's better than us.
Probably because they're doing a vintage party or something. You know what I mean? And like,
which is nice that they've started incorporating vintage within their realm of everything.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. I do wish that they would get someone on the team that had any knowledge about vintage, because it is difficult when we're dealing with like if there's an issue or a return, because they don't know. So I've never had someone say my stuff was inauthentic, but I've had other people that happen to, and like they have no knowledge really, and the whole sizing thing is very problematic, you know, because like if I put it the correct size on the tag, it's not the correct size. If I put it the size it's supposed to be, they're telling me you should have put it on the size of the tag. I've had returns go against me both ways. I put the size I put the size on the tag. They gave me opposite directions each time. You should have done the opposite thing.
Which is not consistent. It's like one thing, like, because then how are you going to list if they're going to give a return either way?
So, but I mean, I don't think that they're the only platform that is lacking in like people who know about vintage. And I think the platforms are pushing vintage a lot now. And I'm like, if you're going to push it, you need people who know what they're doing on it. I think Whatnot has gotten some people who understand vintage. Mm-hmm. I don't know if Depop and eBay and Poshmark have like really gotten like the educational side of it. And I don't know. It's interesting because you get people to authenticate luxury, but you're not going to get people to authenticate vintage. We sell like really big. I just sold a dress for $1,200. Like, it should be authenticated. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like,
but is Poshmark authenticating luxury anymore?
Oh, and when they were,
was it though?
Was it really that great? I don't know because I'm not a luxury seller, so I really can't speak.
From experience, I have received items that were fraudulent. So.
Yes, I've heard it's not great. Yes, it's still a thing. The host picks. She's an Australian seller. Hasn't taken off in Australia, so not worth the time.
That's interesting. Okay.
I don't think it's taken off in another country. What's the other country they launched?
Canada, right? It's in India.
India. I don't know if it took off in India either. Canada, I feel like is like. It's like teeters both ways because of their postage. The postage is just so complicated in Canada. It's very, very difficult.
The Whatnot, when I was talking with someone on Whatnot this morning, she's a Canadian seller. And she said because the shipping is always like the downfall for them. And she said Whatnot shipping was actually pretty legit, which is the reason for her to keep doing it. Because she was like, I sold a lot more than normal because the shipping was, and the bundling and the shipping to the US. She said that was one of the big things for her.
People are finding interesting niches on Whatnot. I think like if you talk to sellers, they're like, I started out selling like resale clothes, like we all do. But then I have like, you know, a Bath and Body Works nearby. That's an outlet. So now I'm selling that and that people love that. Or I have like a whatever, like, you know, that people are finding like little outlets near them that they can, that's like their niche now. Yeah. And that's interesting. I mean, more power to you. Get that money because we all need it right now.
Got that right.
My sales are your, well, one thing, is Depop still a thing? Were you on?
It is certainly with the younger generation, and you know it's international. It started in the UK, so like you do have I think if you open yourself to international sales, it's doing even better. But it's definitely a younger vibe over there. It's younger people. But you have a lot of celebrities. I don't think they're really on Depop. I think they're assistant who they hire. And I'm like, hello, I'm available. But like,
I will sell your stuff and I'm nearby. Thank you.
Yeah. So I do think you have a lot of that on there, which is interesting. That keeps the presence. Like people are interested in that, especially younger people, I think always want to know. But you can buy from Dita Von Teese. That's cool,
Yeah. I think it was like such a big hype for a while and then it died down. So I haven't really heard about it in the reselling community for a while.
I will say my sales have slowed on Depop, my personal sales, but I did raise my prices a little and my product changed. Like when I first came into Depop, I mean, because it's anyone in resale, we don't know what we're gonna have, and I had a lot of 70s men's at the time, and I was like, boom, 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 selling because they love 70s men.
Yeah.
But then I ran out of that, and so it wasn't as hotcakes anymore. So it totally depends on like what you have. I know Marcy, what is her name? Brenna's Closet. She's doing exceptionally well. Like she's a top seller. Hadrian is he's a top seller.
Oh yeah, Hadrian does amazing wherever he is.
And Hadrian's a luxury seller, man. He's just like, I mean, that's because some people are like, oh, you have to have a low price point on Depop, but Hadrian doesn't have a low price point.
Noreen, I can't believe they paid $80 in shipping. That is insane.
I know. All right, I'll bring that one back.
What did they pay it for?
For a
vintage piece on Depop. It's like she sold to someone in Italy.
I always say, like, people are like, oh, you have to get free shipping. I'm like, no, you don't. Like, if somebody wants,
I don't do free shipping.
Pay for the shipping. They're gonna pay. I promise you that. They will, and they'll pay $80 for it if they really want it.
It's always ask me when I sell stuff on eBay, and I'm like, you pay more in shipping than the item.
Yeah.
And this
they really want it because they can't get it.
Yeah. Well, and I get a little excited when I sell something international or Poshmark because I'm like, I can't return it.
Yeah, I know.
I'll take offers on Poshmark that are lower because I'm like, I've had this forever, or like I've had it returned before for like size or something, and I'm like, can't return it. So like, I will take it lower than I would have taken on eBay.
Vintage Burberry coat.
Wow. Oh, that's nice. Wow. That's a lot of shipping for Singapore. I feel like they have the highest shipping.
I don't know if you guys, I don't know if both of you are on Tradesy or if you ever tried Tradesy, but Vestiaire Collective is coming over. And I'm very curious as to what that transition is going to look like because they're international.
Got Vestiaire or Vestiaire got Tradesy?
Vestiaire bought Tradesy.
Vestiaire bought Tradesy. Okay.
Didn't they get bought out a couple of years ago too by someone? Or no? Am I making that
up? No, I don't think so. No, this is a new merge, and but I think it could be good because Tradesy.
It makes sense to me. It makes sense. Yes. Those two together. It does.
I think what makes me nervous too about reselling is you're seeing some of these bigger companies, all of the bigger companies know that it's a thing and they're starting to get their feet in it, right? Like a lot of I know Lululemon has a buyback thing. Have you seen Coach's? Their prices, like their buyback on the Coach website is like outrageous.
Not just the buybacks, but they're selling vintage in the stores. Like Anthropologie, Urban Outfitters are selling vintage in the stores, and like Levi's actually has like contracts with several thrifts to. They have to take all the Levi's and like send them to Levi's. Like that's why we're not finding the vintage Levi's anymore.
I was just going to ask that to you, Breezy, when you mentioned Levi's. I know it happens a lot in the West Coast because that's where it all originated. But like the super vintage Levi's that, I mean, we're going back in time when they first became a thing and they were more of a trouser than anything else. Have you ever come across anything like that in your travels?
No, old ones? No. Like I think where you find those are like really crazy estate sales, or like someone's like, I got stuff in my barn, and you're like, hey, go dig. And like honestly, some of the sellers that here will go out to the desert to abandoned homes and be digging through those and find, but they still aren't finding those ancient Levi's. They're finding maybe sometimes the 1950s Levi's that way.
Yeah.
I'm not going, I can't be, I'm a single woman. Well, I'm not, I mean, I'm a married woman, but I am a woman. I'm not going to the desert off grid like some kind
of. I think it was this year or last year, someone did come across one of the mining pair of trousers, and Levi's bought it from them for, I don't know how many millions of dollars, because that's something they're going to keep in a vault, right?
Yeah, that's history for them. Yeah.
And the Japanese collectors will certainly buy, in fact, at one of my pop-ups, I just had a Japanese collector buy Levi's for me for like a pretty good amount that he was just going to sell to his Japanese clientele. Nice. Yeah.
Oh, to resell even.
Yeah, to resell it. It was high. Like, I mean, it was on the lower side for what they were. Like I was cutting him a deal. I was also over them though. I had them for a while. I was like, please take them. But
if I make any money, I'm like, my brother-in-law has been reselling for 12 years. And he told me in the very beginning, because I sold something, I was like, oh, I probably could have gotten more. And he's like, but did you make money? Yeah. On to the next. Like, you made money.
Who cares?
Right. Like, you can't.
There are certain pieces I can't say who cares to, but the vast majority of pieces I'm like, bye, see you. It doesn't faze me at all.
Yeah. And I think the new reselling platform to like maybe think about joining and like look out on is Shop Thrilling. And
I can't.
Okay, but it doesn't require any work, Sarah. It doesn't require any work.
They just work for you.
Work. You're asking me to look into something. That's work alone.
Look, listen, you hand them a file. You hand them a file, and they upload everything for you.
They upload everything for you. What do you use for cross listing?
And their customer service is amazing.
All right, so you download the CSV,
but I don't keep it in list perfectly. So eBay, you could probably do it from eBay.
Whatever. Well, I don't know. Maybe.
I don't keep it in list perfectly. I just do.
You can do it cross post it from something, but their customer service is amazing. Even if you manually input, because sometimes I was starting that way, like they actually automate the description for you as you're putting. So you're like toggling things out. The description's automated. Like it's really, really amazing. Shop Thrilling. But here's the kicker. I'm gonna tell everyone this is why you want to join. They, first of all, it's a Black female-owned business. Like we love to see it. We love to see it. Okay. Then on top of it, they are very connected with Hollywood. And so there's stylists on there, and there are movie production teams that get in touch with Thrilling, and they put out a product release, and they say specifically what they want. 1990s tracksuits in a size medium, like whatever it is, and they put that call out. They'll send you the email, and you could submit. You just like select your things and submit, and then the studios and the stylists can pick from you. And they'll give you a price range, and sometimes there is no price range.
I have heard of this actually. Now that you're saying that, they're working with like the studios to get it. Yeah, okay, I have heard of this. Excess package. It's a
cool thing. It's a good thing. On the flip side, I'll be honest, because the costume designers had to find the product before, they were paying more for it. You know what I mean? Like now we're all fighting for them to take our piece. So it's like a little bit meow because we're getting less because there's more competition, but you have more to like get your stuff in there. And a lot of times with costume departments, if they know you carry a certain product, they're gonna come back to you. So that's a good thing,
Yeah. I did just get a calendar reminder that I have to go pick up clothes from a buy sell trade place, and they close soon.
All right.
So that's the end of our live. Thank you so much for joining. No, but thank you guys so much for joining. Like I said, I am going to hopefully I'm doing lives more regularly for sure. Now that I'm back at it, I am hoping to do one with Anna every Friday, more casual like this. Have other resellers on. You guys are always welcome. People in the chat always welcome. I love talking to other people. I'm learning things. List of things that I'm adding to my list of I don't want to do these things. Breezy. It's not in my love column. Just kidding. But it makes us all better talking and learning from each other. Oh, Anna is still here. So thank you guys so much. Your Daniela and Breezy's links are down below, so definitely follow them. They both have amazing content, podcasts and Patreon groups and social media and all the things to help you become better resellers. And I hope everyone has a wonderful weekend. So thank you.
And they're on the 10K. That's like amazing.
Oh yes, right. I forgot about that now. That's what we started with. Yes, thank you so much. And have a wonderful weekend. We'll see you guys next week, next Wednesday, I think.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.